Now, as you can see, I have skipped a little bit. I have my entire trainer covered. And just to recap on the first or part one of covering the trainers, I started from my heel where I actually came along this direction. And then along the middle, I use this direction. This is really just to kind of make your taping a little bit easier. And at the front, you may see some. So I came from the top or the toes there, the very end point upwards. Okay, so I have my my trainer completely covered. Make sure that the tape is nice and flat. Ideally, you do another cover just to ensure that when you peel it off, you do not lose any information. Okay, so this takes us to part two, which is tracing design features. I've mentioned in part one that I don't necessarily want to copy the design of these trainers. So what I'll do, I'll take some features of the original, but I'll change it to my one. What's important, however, is to decide where the middle is, and from here all the way around. And for that, by eye, I use my tape. And I start here. I decide where my middle is. Okay, and I just trace. I use little dots. And then I connect the dots. Okay, just check that that point is where exactly should be. Then again, this is not a super technical exercise of shoe making. This is just a creative process. So this line here, make sure that it meets this line here somehow. Luckily, this is an Adidas. There's a center line here that will meet to this line, and it indicates, as you can see this line in the middle, it indicates my middle point there. Okay, it indicates my middle point. I just repeat the information, and I can just start carry on tracing it. Okay. I use the tape again because the tape is quite flexible. It can mold. You might feel a bit awkward. You just need to be a little bit patient with holding the tape. Okay. And then the bottom. The bottom, I have a line here and another line that comes from here. All I do is to meet those two dots, and for that I actually use a pattern master so that I know that those lines are met. Okay. Okay. Mentioned in earlier on that the shoe has three different main sections divided by two, making six. So I'm talking about the top here. So I'm going to decide that my middle is somewhere along here, and I'm going to decide that my heel is somewhere along here. Okay, again, I am redesigning my own shoe. I'm just going to draw a line, a dotted line, just all the way down. And then I'm going to double check if I'm happy with this line. If I'm not, I'm going to correct it. So I'm just checking. I'm quite happy with it. And I'm going to do I just get a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do the next line. I'm just checking if it looks fine enough. Now I'm going to make sure that this line here is somehow met continuously with that one, which seems to be quite fine. That one starts there. Okay. You can use the tape if you want as a guideline. It might help you with getting a straighter line. Okay, so I have then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. The sole, I'm going to draw the sole line as a dotted line exactly where I want it to be. And what's so cool about this is that you can replicate a model that you actually like. This one is quite dynamic in terms of design. It's quite experimental as well. I quite like this element, this curved element here. So I'm going to transfer to my design. And I quite like, if you may see it a little bit closer, you can see some curved lines here. I'm just going to borrow a couple of curved lines here. And maybe just for continuity, I'm going to do my own curved line here at the back. Okay, so you can see, I'm just going to trace it a little bit more so you can see it with more definition. Again, at this stage, we're not doing a technical exercise. We're doing something that is a little bit more creative. Therefore, you don't have to be extremely precise. I'm just joining the dots with a continuous line, so then I can see that, and this is I can see where my lines are with more definition before you remove the tape and you cut your shoe patterns. What you can do at this stage as well is to start naming the pieces, so then you can understand where things go. Okay, so you can see my sole, and you can see what I've been up to in terms of tracing. Okay, so this is, I'm going to call it back, O as in back, outside, or the outside of the shoe, back in. Obviously this is the heel. Okay, this is middle as in M-I, front I as in inside,